podcast today is the legendary Flint Rasmussen. Flint, it's so good to have you on the podcast. You know, a lot of people know you as the entertainer of the PBR and super public, but what's really cool is your two daughters get to call you dad, Shelby and Paige. Paige just graduated college, so shout out to her, Montana State University. That's awesome. And Shelby was a former National High School Rodeo president, youth president, as well as she's doing big things as a rodeo coach today as well. He's an 8-time Wrangler National Finals Rodeo Barrelman, a 7-time Coors Man in the Can, and just an all-around cowboy from Billings, Montana. Flint, thank you for taking the time on your day off from entertaining to be on the Kick Your Boots Up podcast.
Yeah, it is. I have a little day here. I'm here at PBR World Finals, and we get kind of we go 3 days, have a little break, and then finish off with 4 days. So my body appreciates sitting in this chair just talking to you. But I'm glad, you bring up my girls, that there's a public thing, anybody who's kind of in the public eye. But I've said it a lot. If people look at me and say, I think that's Paige and Shelby's dad, and that's all, I'm good with that. And so they're my favorite subject for sure, those two.
Well, and I have to commend you too. You've done an incredible job raising them, knowing personally and respecting Shelby back in high school for high school rodeo at the national finals, and then seeing them both continue to go on and do big things today. That's got to make you feel good as a dad, right?
It does. I always say people know me and know them as my girls, but their mom probably did more. My job took us into the rodeo industry and brought awareness by complete immersion into the lifestyle. It was me making a living at it that took him there, but somebody had to be there to get them to school, get them on their horses. And their mom, Katie, she was a circuit finals barrel racer and really great horse trainer. She's kind of the one that got them performing as well as they do. And hopefully I chipped in there here and there, but we told them at a very young age a couple things, with rodeo. First of all, win with grace, lose with grace. You better learn to lose the right way, because you're going to lose in rodeo way more than you're going to win. And the other thing we've tried to teach them from day one is you can be successful. You can win all the gold buckles you want or whatever, saddles. But what people will remember is how you are to them outside of the arena. And I know a lot of people talk about that, but it's so true. And I tell them all the time, your life and your success in life is about relationships and connections. And a lot of people don't like that. Like there's this saying, well, oh yeah, well, they knew this person to get them in here. Yep. That exactly. But the great thing about rodeo, and this, and a lot of the people watching know this, you can have all the ins you want. You can know all the people you want in this rodeo world, but you still got to win. Like it's not like getting a part in a movie. It's not like getting a record deal. You can enter, but you got to win. So they have done well. Paige recently won the goat tying, her 4th region goat tying title, the Big Sky region, and her 2nd all around title. So, and now Shelby is her coach at Montana State. So we get to spend a week at the College National Finals Rodeo, and I love it, because all I get to do is be a dad and get nervous and pace up and down, and that's my week there. So it's great.
What a cool outlook on that. Thank you for sharing. And I can tell you're so passionate about your daughters. A proud dad we have right here.
Yeah.
That's very, very incredible. And I can't wait to learn more about them. But I want to kind of back up just a little bit and learn more about you personally. And more specifically, how did you get started in the industry? I know it's kind of taken its wild turns. And so share your story with us for everyone out there that doesn't know it.
Yeah. I too, I talked about my girls by immersion, just assimilation of the sport. I was a little bit the same way, but maybe on a smaller scale. My dad was a rodeo announcer, and he really just stayed around Montana. He had all of us. He had a family too. So our summers were loading up in a camper on a pickup. My mom timed the rodeos. My dad announced the rodeos, and we got to go to little rodeos around Montana. That was our childhood. I mean, that was how we spent our summers. We never went camping. Camping to us was camping in our camper on the pickup, but it was in the infield of a at a fairgrounds somewhere, and that was good with us. That was okay. Um, but my mom always says we learned the sport from the steps of an announcer's stand. So I grew up watching rodeo from the back, the back of the chutes, just watching. And I'm that kid. I'm still that guy. I watch football that way. I watch everything that way. As a little kid, I just sit and watch everything that was going on. And I really didn't, rodeo wasn't my thing. And now I have a brother. My brother Will is a great rodeo announcer. He was a little the same way. We have another brother, Pete, who really is a cowboy. Uh, I just didn't. I was a football player, football, basketball, track. I did a lot of music and stage stuff, but rodeo was not really on my radar to ever make a living at it. But I always performed. I was always pretty funny as a kid. And really, it stemmed from a conversation when I was about 19 years old and thought rodeo clowns that I had seen my brother and dad work with, I thought I could do better. And I opened my big mouth about that, and they dared me to do it once. And it turned into my summer job through college. Had no expectations. I had no goals. I didn't like do one summer of this and go, hey, I'm going to be at the NFR someday. It was just, it was just a fun thing while my other friends were doing actual real jobs. I was, this was my summer job and got a teaching job after college and kind of thought I was done with it. And I just kept getting more and more phone calls. And, lo and behold, these 5, 6 years that I was doing little rodeos in Montana, Northern Rodeo Association rodeos, I was really getting pretty good. And I had patience. I see, you know, with all due respect, and if the shoe fits somebody out there, I see young guys come in and go, well, I want to do what he does. So I'm going to do 1 year of scraping up rodeos or bull ridings. And then, shoot, I'm ready for the Pendleton Roundup. I did a lot of years of small stuff. And then when I joined the PRCA, I worked my way up. And so it kind of took off. My rodeo career took off. The PBR, I was kind of on the ground floor of a lot of production through guys like a guy named David Allen and the late Jerome Robinson. I fit the PBR style. So I spent a lot of years doing rodeo and PBR. And then 06, I just went strictly PBR, and I guess it's gone okay. I quit teaching school in 1993 to see if maybe it would work for a couple of years. And here we are a couple years later, and it seems to still be working a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I'd say what you're doing is exactly right. And I think I want to back up to whenever you made the comment about becoming a teacher. My father-in-law mentioned that you're a teacher, and I was like, no, Flint wasn't a teacher. How cool is it now for those students that you taught to look back at you now on this stage and with such a following and such a big, important job, being a clown, entertaining the crowd?
Yeah.
What do you think it's like for those kids?
Well, it's funny because when I was there, they knew what I did in the summers, and they knew when I quit teaching what I was going to try and do. Those kids that I taught, I mean, that's 30 years ago. I run into them, or I get messages, and some of them still call me Mr. Rasmussen. Coach, some of them call me coach, which to me is the second greatest title behind dad. Hey, Ras, they all called me Ras, but they're doctors and teachers. And, those kids, I ran into a kid not long ago, fastest kid I ever coached in track. He had the state record in the 100 for a while, and ran into him at a basketball tournament. I'm like, how old are you now? I'm 48. I'm like, oh my God. So it's great. Guys I coached with, it's been really, honestly, that's a great point because it's cool to see them. I see they were on Facebook the other day. The last class I taught was advertising to get them all together for their 30th high school reunion. And I chimed in and said, looks like I got to go. And it just blew up. So that's a good point. That's really fun for me, actually.
Yeah, that's so cool. And for them to even be able to follow your journey so easily with
Yeah.
social media and technology today, that's so, so awesome. But before we kind of move on to the next segment, I want to touch really briefly on your first memory or favorite memory of working your first PBR, what it was like versus now. Obviously, the nerves are way different. You prepare way different. You do your makeup way different, I'm sure. So talk to us about those first few memories.
Well, PBR wise, PBR was in a different place when I first came around. I'm thinking 1996 ish when I first got hired, really run and structured more like a rodeo, but just with bull riding. We were all independent contractors. They were hiring different people. So it was a real different experience. But for me in 1996, not, I'm 28 years old or whatever I was, 27 years old. And I remember going to like Portland and Kansas City. Here's Tuff Hedeman, Jim Sharp, Ted Noose, Aaron Seamus, Michael Gaffney, Adriano Marias. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? It was crazy. And I had so much energy back then, of course, but it was such a thrill. And the great thing was it allowed me to fill a schedule in the winter, which is hard in the rodeo world. So I jumped in and was really able to stay busy and get better and better. But that my first memory is I was a little starstruck for sure.
And I love that you mentioned that too, because you're a walking proof of not only do you encourage your girls to work from the bottom and start there and work their way to the top and still win. That's exactly what you did. You walked in as a young buck and made the most of it. And now you're the legend that you are today. And there's a lot of kids out there, and you might realize this or you might not, but there's a lot of kids out there that want to be you. For Halloween, for school dress up
Yeah.
days, for rodeo
Yeah.
themed weekends, whatever it is. That's got to feel so cool too, right?
Yeah. People forget the starting at the bottom. Uh, I got married. I sold cars. I substitute taught. My wife at the time got a teaching job. She was a great teacher, had been a teacher. She kind of supported us while this took off. That's forgotten. Everybody, all they see is what's happening now. And there's a lot goes into it. And yeah, for young people, you got to be ready for that. You got to accept it and embrace it and just run with it a little bit.
Oh yeah, and you do that so gracefully. Maybe not running gracefully, but
I used to be way more graceful running for sure.
No, I love watching you in the arena entertain the crowd. It's just so there's a professional way about you that you just own the room. And what's so crazy to me is it's such a large room wherever you go. And stadiums, I'm talking, this is places where like Carrie Underwood performs in these same places that you get to
Yeah.
step into. So talk to us a little bit about that. What's it like entertaining the person on the front row, the lowest to all the way up in the nosebleeds? I know that's kind of what I was used to as a rodeo queen. You kind of had to get the hearts and the attention of everyone, but on a different level for you being a rodeo clown, what's that like?
But yeah, you got to pull everybody in. I think you got to make everybody feel like they're part of the invited to the party. And I remember 30 years ago, the first Garth Brooks special on TV. It was on NBC. I'll never forget. And he did this deal where he went up and sat. He said every show he does, he goes up and sits way at the top and looks and says, "How do I make this person feel like they're a part of what's going on?" And I have that same mentality. And difference is I sometimes even go up in the crowd. I've been known to go in the top level if I can get up there. And that's a big thing. I just think what I've always tried to do is, people may not believe this. It's never about this. It's about this. It's about everything going on from the announcers to now music, such a big part of what we do. And now PBR, we're lucky to have amazing lighting and concert sound. And so it makes it a little easier, but it's fun. It's a dangerous sport, but I'm supposed to bring levity to it and fun. And there's a little truth to, hey, we're going to have a little party here and you need to come to the party. And by the end of the night, it's your party and we're invited to your party. I watch different performers that I relate to in their energy in bringing joy to the crowd because their show is such a joy. Garth Brooks was always that guy. I finally got to meet Garth Brooks not very long ago, but I didn't get to tell him I'm not very good at that. I don't want to bother anybody, but I wanted to tell him, you rodeo clowns weren't my inspiration. People like you were my inspiration. I recently, not to give somebody a plug, but recently was a part of concert by Ian Munsick. He's now big in the country music world. He brings joy. Everything he does is saying to the crowd, we're having fun. Let's go. That's why I think he's another big thing. And lucky enough to kind of know him and was part of his show the other night. And so I watch that stuff. What makes me happy? And that's what I try to do. So I don't know. I think people have fun at our shows. That's the point, right? We're not curing cancer. We're not stopping terrorism. It's freaking bull riding. It's rodeo. It's fun. Let's just have some fun. So yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Anytime I go, I'm looking around. I'm thinking you're going to start like flying from the ceiling at some point. I'm always wondering, where's Flint going to end up? Where's he going to be? I love that you get to do the fan of the night on occasions.
Yeah.
Just fun things like that that gets the crowd looking forward to something else other than the event that they spent their hard-earned money to go to, that they want to go to, of course.
Yeah.
But I've got to ask you, this is a personal question of mine that I'm so curious about. Whenever you have your full face of makeup, are there any kids that maybe start crying when they see your face?
Yeah, it's funny because parents pretend that their kids are excited to see me, when a lot of times it's the parents that are excited to see me. Oh my God, will you sign this shirt? It's for my daughter. She loves you. Yeah, you do too, mom, but whatever. But they'll grab their kid who knows no better, a 2-year-old kid who really, doesn't know. And they just stick the kid in my face and he's screaming, here, hold my kid and take a picture. I'm like, listen, no, there's a reason now they're going to be freaked out the rest of their life. So yeah, there's a lot of people. Hey, it's funny. There's adults out there that they're just like, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm freaked out by clowns. And I always say, I'm not a clown. I'm just a guy with some stuff on my face. And I have had people tell me I had a phobia of clowns as a kid growing up, and with you, it's different. I don't mind it. It's just different. And I agree, but I've got a lot of that too. So that's kind of an honor, break somebody's phobia of clowns. What a deal.
And you're not afraid of clowns, right?
No, but I'm not a fan of clowns. Does that make sense? Like,
Okay.
as a kid, of course, being in rodeo, a little enthralled with rodeo clowns. There's been ones through my life that I just never, I don't know, I never pictured myself as it, but I can say through rodeo, there's certain ones I watched. Um, Maybe a name you're not familiar with, but rodeo people. I really watched Butch Lemcooler. I thought was an underrated, legendary rodeo clown. He was the original guy on the trampoline. He helped me. Very physical expressions. Of course, Liesl Harris
Oh,
and the late Liesl Harris, we got along very well. I never really got to watch him work because I was always somewhere, but we'd get together in Vegas, and I think he knew what I was going for. Liesl was a brilliant guy, and we had some really good conversations about how to navigate things. And I mean, there's a lot of them out there, but I remember Butch really helping me, and I just thought he was deep, and I don't know, that he's kind of an intellectual. I dug that. That was cool. So, uh, but circus clowns and stuff, they're kind of creepy. I don't know. Yeah, weird. I know.
I agree with you, which is so funny
Yeah.
because your job is to entertain and be funny. And a lot of tough people are using clowns nowadays in haunted houses and stuff because there is a fear like that. So way to
Yeah.
go for not doing the whole super scary thing and just trying to be funny. But kind of going along those same lines of the behind the scenes. I am so curious to know your behind the scenes day-to-day life. I know right now you're at the biggest show, essentially. You're at the World Finals. It's busy. Talk to us about your day-to-day life. Like, I'm so serious. Break it down to like production meetings, what time you put your makeup on, because by now you're about to retire and you have it down to a science. So tell us about the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'll give you a little insight into what we do here at PBR World Finals. Now, this isn't, they've gone back to 2 weekends, so we have some off days. But when I start here coming up, I'm helping with our telecast a little bit for a little transition in my career. So I'm doing the CBS pre-show, which 2 segments we tape in the morning. Matt West, who amazing PBR announcer and TV guy, which is a hard balance. We do a couple segments in the morning. So I get up and we're there by 10 o'clock in the stockyards. There's a set there. We do some of that. We go over it all. I finish there do some other things. And then our first production meeting at Dickies Arena is at 3 o'clock for a 7:45 start. So we go 3 o'clock, we go through every element of the show, because when you're live TV, we work in conjunction and are controlled by TV. And that isn't always the case in the rodeo world. There's this, well, TV can wait on us. We don't get to do that. We're live TV. That pays the bills. So we do a lot there. We finish that meeting. They feed us. We get a catered meal. Then we go do some of the elements of the openings. And I go to all of that. I think a big difference between maybe just the rodeo clown world and what I do, I am a member of the production team with PBR. So I go to all those meetings. When we're going through the opening, I can go, hey, I think you should bring them out of here instead. Not that they always listen to me, but I can say it. And then go get ready for a 7:45 start. If I need something in sports medicine, we walk around. We have a great locker room atmosphere. It's kind of our own space. 7 o'clock is kind of my deadline to put the makeup on, and it doesn't take very long. It's a necessary evil of my job. It's not I go, honestly, when it's time to put my makeup on, I go, oh God, I forgot to put my makeup on. I got to put my makeup on, and so I do that. Get everything ready. There's things, I wear microphones and an earpiece, so I'm taping stuff on. There's just a lot of little things, but we all need that time for everybody to just leave us alone. When I go out in the arena, I don't necessarily have things prepared. I prepare my mind to just open up and take it all in, because I feel that's when I'm at my best. I think one reason I'm tired in my career is I've never walked out in the arena and recited, okay, I'm going to do this joke here and this joke here. It's all been, all right, mind, look around. What can we do with what we've been dealt here? And it's kind of exhausting mentally as well, and my physical, the way I've done my job physically. So, then we finished by 10:15, 10:30, you wind everything down. But when it's all said and done, I'm at the arena 8 hours. And that's without the stuff in the morning. It's a great job, but it is a job. And there's a lot of little things people don't see. Balancing when you eat so physically you're okay, and who you talk to. It's, which I thrive on it. It's great, but there's a lot. So I hope that helped.
Oh, that helps so much. And that immediately made me want to have a million more questions that I know we don't have time for. But I am curious to know, what's it like knowing that there's a bunch of younger people in the organization, and even people, guys that have been there forever, part of the production team. I love that you'd said you're part of that. I know they hold on to every word you say, especially now more than ever. So what's it like for you knowing that you're the experienced one in the room and you can provide some very valuable insight because you have those memories of the finals in the past or the PBR events in the past?
That's a good question, because I don't always know if there's turnover as far as structure of PBR and who's got a new title, and people come and go. That's
Of
just the
course.
natural
Yeah.
way. And I don't know if they do always take in, the guys I work with do. I've heard every announcer and so yeah, they do. That's cool, I think, to be able to have a little say in things. Now, structurally, PBR, I sometimes get, oh, well, what do you know? Well, I've been here longer than you. So every once in a while, I got to throw that out. Listen, I've seen more of these than any of you. I don't very often, but every once in a while. But I appreciate, we have an amazing team of it. Now, it brings up a good point. In rodeo, when you get to a rodeo, who's the announcer? You might be working with Wayne Brooks one week and Randy Corley and Will Rasmussen and Bob Tallman. So you get that, hey, let's, be sure and watch for this. Who's the music guy? Who's doing the sound? Where am I going to park my trailer? You do all these things. When I walk into into a PBR, for the most part, it's Matt West and Clint Atkins announcing. It's Richard Jones on music, or Brad Narducci, those guys I work with. It's Jared runs all the lighting structure that we use. Mike's on sound, the same guy on the outgate, the same. It's a concert tour. When you walk in, everybody's in the same place. A lot of rodeo people think, well, that'd get boring. With us, we have created a seamless production, and there's a reward in that. There's a reward when you finish a show and go, yeah, we kicked its butt tonight because we know where everybody's going. To me, that's not boring. To me, that's painting a beautiful picture and being proud of what you've produced. So I think I'm pretty lucky to have that. And it's kind of my gig. And when I transitioned to PBR, I was just thought I could do everything I did in rodeo, and PBR kind of seemed like my kind of gig for a while. So it has turned out to be.
And Flint, it's so cool to hear your perspective on the business side of things. That's not a lot of people get to see you in that light. And so I kind of want to humble you a little bit more, though, and remember or refer back to a social media post I saw just the other day for the first night of the World Finals when you were with Kid Rock wearing a furry coat. A lot of people were so jealous. What was that like?
So years ago, I rewrote the song all summer long to all season long. And there's a middle verse and the end of the song where every year I always rewrote it to fit who was doing what that year. So I had a fur coat. I used to have a red fedora like his and the sunglasses, and I sing the Kid Rock song all season long. Well, Kid Rock was there on night number 1 of the PBR finals and went up and got introduced to him. He was great. He has wanted to come to a PBR. It's not like we paid him. He just wanted to come. And he had a ball cap on and his hair tucked up. You wouldn't have known it was him. Well, Sean Gleason, our CEO, said, Kid Rock kind of wants you to sing your song. I'm like, you're full of crap. Nobody. Well, we have a mutual friend, Kid Rock and I, who was with him, and he said, yeah, Bob wants you. He thinks it'd be cool for you to sing the song. Bob. His name's Bob.
Of course, his name is Bob.
Of course, yeah. So about the time I'm putting the fur coat on, getting ready to go, I look over. I'm telling you the whole story here. Kid Rock's got his hair down and the hat and the sunglasses. I'm like, he's suited up. Like, what's going on? And I did this to our boss, Sean Gleason. I said, what am I doing? Do I sing just my all season long song? Yeah, just sing your song. He's going to come out the gate when you're done and yada, yada. And I'm like, you're lying, but whatever. Go out. I start the song and I keep looking over my shoulder because I'm thinking there's something going on. Sure enough, I'm in the second verse. Through the gate, Kid Rock walks the length of the arena, and I can hear the crowd just going crazy because they didn't know he was there. And at that point in my mind, I said, I don't care what I'm singing, what I'm saying, because it doesn't matter, because freaking Kid Rock is here. And he climbed up on stage and was there and shook my hand and thanked me. And that was it. I can die now. Right. I sang on stage with Kid Rock. It was my stage, but I still was on stage with Kid Rock. Yeah.
What a way to end your career in your retirement right there. It's like mic drop. You're finished,
Yeah.
right? Like that's it.
That's right. That's right.
I have a fun idea for you. So you always do Life Outside the Barrel, especially during the NFR. That's a big thing on the Cowboy Channel. I love watching. But now, since it's your retirement, what about life after the barrel? That could be a fun new thing for you.
Barrel. Yeah. Well, except that, we always call it OTB, outside the barrel. What about OTB? I'll tell you, that name came from a guy, legendary broadcaster and rodeo announcer from South Dakota named Jim Thompson. He had a show for a great radio voice. He had a show called On the Road Again with Jim Thompson. He had this cool voice. And he had me doing segments years and years ago, late 90s, on his radio show. I'd call in from the rodeos I was at and just talk about things in general. And he came up with, I'm not thinking outside the box. I'm thinking outside the barrel. And I took that and ran with it. And the point of the show is introducing cowboys and me, not as a clown in a barrel, but outside the barrel. And we've taken that and run with it. So that's where that name came from. I forget that sometime, but Jim reminded me of that not too long ago. So yeah.
Yeah, he's probably ready to pay up for the loyalties on that name.
Yeah, he wants some money or something. Yeah.
No, I really do love that. I love getting to see the Cowboys from your perspective as their friends and you work alongside them, but then also, yeah, the fact that you shed light on their personal lives and stuff too. But the more we want to talk about life after the barrel for you, I'm sure there's a lot of tears, joy, laughter. I'm sure you felt it all throughout your career. And I kind of want to take this time to do one last final look back at your whole entire career, PRCA, even before then, when you were still a teacher, just trying to scrape by for the summers, and then PBR, what do you think is, if you could sum it up in one, answer, one statement, what would you say about your entire career? Maybe some fun memories, funny memories, whatever.
I think big picture, I mean, specific memories are hard. Sometimes I go on YouTube and watch myself so I remember what I did. But um I'll give you kind of a big picture. I was a few years into this and I realized this is going pretty well. You know, it's in the PRCA 94, 95, 96, and I started to feel momentum. And I finally did set a goal. I said, people I want to get people's attention who normally wouldn't pay attention to a rodeo. I want to be recognized for what I'm doing outside the barrel, outside the arena, in a different market than would be normal for a rodeo clown. And so that turned into my goal. I don't want to be just another one. I want to take this somewhere different. And I think I have. Then, it turned into, okay, now that I realize I've found this niche of a style and things that I'm doing, now I want to set the bar and the expectations a little higher for these guys for the job when people come to a rodeo or a PBR. That's the expectations they have. And I think I've done that. And not always consciously, but and I don't know if it necessarily answers your question, but that's the big picture part of when I look back on my career now. I've reflected a little, although I've been pretty immersed in the job still. It's like, man, I was doing some pretty cool stuff. Like, not everybody likes it, and that's okay. They like the traditional. I like traditional rodeo clowns, but I don't know. I just think now, when somebody hires someone else for that position, hey, this is what we expect. And that's what we're all about. If we don't raise each other up, what is the point? Rodeo has to move and shake and change as much as some people don't like it. There's a lot to do in this world, and there's a lot of access to everything in this world right here. I'm on my phone right now. And with that, we have to create something that makes people want to go and pay attention, because everything else they have is right in their hand, especially young people. So we can get young people to go, we're accomplishing something. And the only way that's going to be accomplished is to provide them something that sparks their brain. And that might be a little different than it used to be, but that's okay as long as we stay true to our roots and who we are and where we came from. We can still present a product that interests those people as well. So I don't know if it answers your question, but I think a lot about it. Every time I step in the arena, I say, what can I do tonight to spark somebody, to inspire somebody? Sincerely, that is my nightly goal. What am I going to do here tonight to make these people feel better when they leave than when they got here?
I love that so much. And, I'm starting to think about the timeline here. And your daughter Paige just graduated high school. And so this is your retirement
College.
year. Oh, I'm
College.
sorry, college.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally knew that. Totally wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
wrong thing.
Oh, yeah.
No, but essentially, she finished college. You're finishing your career, and I can't help but think you're good at sitting on your hands and doing much, doing nothing in the retirement life. Do you have any future plans?
Yeah. I'm calling it more of a transition because I can't retire. I am 55, but that here, honestly, financially, no, I can't retire. I got to keep working. I've said that to a lot of people. Well, I got to keep working. Well, I know how that is. Boy, I'd go crazy. Oh, no, I'd be fine with that. I just got to keep working. But, I've dipped my toe in some TV stuff for a long time with my Outside the Barrel show. I've hosted things. I have a podcast, According to Flint. Uh, I do some weekly stuff active there, and that's going well. I enjoy that. Doing the CBS pre-shows here. I am on the broadcast team for the PBR team series late summer into the fall. I'm going to be doing some color commentating there. Then I got to decide moving on into the new year what exactly my role will be. I think I have things to offer in the production world behind the scenes, some evaluation of young talent to help young guys, to point them in a direction with what rodeos and PBR needs. I think I have things to say. I think there's things I have to offer. So whether it's TV or behind the scenes, I'm working on all that. And so I'll put it out there. If anybody, I'll give you my number. If anybody needs anything, let me know.
That's awesome. Yes, I'm wishing you the best already. I know it's going to be such a bright future for you. You're very driven and always have been, it seems. So I know without a doubt you're going to find something and be something. And it's going to be so awesome to see you behind the scenes, not so much in the limelight. That's going to be really cool. And I can already see the auditions going now for the new clown. I've just got to say, like, you've got to be in there and you've got to be tough on them and make sure that they know what they're getting into. And that'll be
Yeah,
fun to watch.
yeah, we'll see. The PBR, I think there's a plan there. There's been
Great.
some guys working the lower level tours, but I if I could say something to whoever takes my job or out there, you got to be proud of what you're presenting as an individual, a style that's your own, and stick with that. Yes, imitation is the biggest form of flattery, whatever the saying is, but you got to be your own person. You can't just get this job and because you fit the uniform. It's got to be bring your own style, your own what's in here. It takes thought and so yeah, I hope to see some young guys. I think I had an advantage coming up as a young guy because I just always wanted to be a performer. It was not like I was a cowboy that decided to move into it. All I ever wanted to be was a performer, and this was looking back now, thankfully my avenue to do it because of my family connections. And I just remained a performer. And hopefully there's some performers out there that can come and inspire some more young people.
Without a doubt. And your stage background in the very beginning has helped you so much for that. And again, I commend you on all aspects of life. You're a role model to so many and a legend and even more, people's eyes. That's so incredible. And I'm sure people want to keep up with you. They're probably going to want to reach out with job opportunities, things like that. So I know you have a website. So tell us where can we find you, your social media, website, all of it.
Yeah, I have a flintrasmussen.com and people can message through there. I'm on Facebook. I have a public page on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of it. Find me at Flint Rasmussen and I'm out there and I try to stay active. Social media, a lot of people social media can be such a great thing. You mentioned staying connected with kids I taught. I mean, that's wonderful. And it's a necessary evil in our industry, as you know, to stay. That's how we stay connected to the fans and let them know this is what we're up to. Everything's okay. Look what we got to do. It's just part of what we do now. And if we do it right and the right way, it can be a very good thing.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm so glad that you're not going to be hanging up your hat forever. We'll still see you around the PBR scene, here, there, and everywhere. And that's so exciting to see. But Flint, I just want to wish you the very best and say thank you so much for spending your day off talking to us here at the Kick Your Boots Up Corner. I've learned a lot about you. And I know there's a lot of people, including myself, that are big fans and they respect you so much. So thank you for everything you've done, for your many, many, many years of service in the rodeo industry, bull riding industry, all of it. I just got to ask one final question. You can leave us whenever we go. What's it going to be like to hang up your hat for the final time? Are you going to cry?
I haven't. I've tried to compartmentalize it all, so I can't predict yet. I'm tired. My knees hurt, which has helped. I don't know if it'll be relief or heartbreak. I'll let you know on that.
Well, and
It's
luckily we'll find out after, this
yeah,
podcast will already be out. So we'll get to see it, right?
yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, Flint, thank
Bittersweet. It'll
you.
be bittersweet. How's that? Bittersweet.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
great, great 2 words to say for
Yeah.
it because it really will for everyone. We'll be
Yeah.
crying with you, laughing with you, smiling with you. So again, congratulations on such an awesome career. We wish you the very best. And thank you for being a part of Team Justin for all those years as well.
Yeah. All these years, I've been adjusting. It's good to see you again, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.